Hi everybody, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are focusing on my declutter for December. I am currently up to eyeshadow palettes. This is one of the hardest ones that we're going to have to do, and I'm not positive this is going to go well. I'm a little overwhelmed looking at everything. I'm reminding myself that I did buy several palettes over the holiday seasons. That did sort of grow my collection very quickly. I also know that I have a lot of palettes that don't get used very often, and some of them are pretty old, and I should also take a look at that as well. I'm hoping nothing else I've purchased recently goes on sale, but I've already been burned by several palettes already this season, because both of these are already on sale. This one, at least, I was able to get it at the sale price. I had just purchased it, but I hadn't opened it yet, so I returned it and got another one. But this one I've already used it, and yeah, it's already on sale for $39. That's a little bit frustrating. In looking at everything here, I counted through, I have 24 palettes in front of me. Let's say 25% need to go, so I should at least aim for trying to get down at least 6 palettes. While I do love to collect makeup, I also need to use this makeup, and if I'm not using it, I don't want to have it in my collection. Any of this makeup, this is all used, so none of this will be being donated. I will be giving this away to friends and family, which a lot of this stuff is gently used, so I'm sure it will find a good home. So let's get started. This is a very difficult one to do, so I'm going to just pick something that I know I'm definitely keeping, just to get it off the table, and that would be this. This is my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. This is one of my very favorite palettes that I just got. I just think it's absolutely stunning. So I am a huge fan of this. I really love the warm tones in it. I'm loving the formula. I'm definitely keeping that. So I'm going to put that back into the box. So then we have this guy. This is the original Metal Matte from Kat Von D. This is the Holiday 2016 palette. It's really lovely. It's got tons of colors, and all of these foiled shadows along the top are simply, they're stellar. Not all of the mattes are the greatest. I don't love all of them. Some of them are a little bit patchy, especially these purples, ribbon especially, but I do get some use out of all of the colors, and I do think they're really nice. I enjoy all of the foils though. All of the foils along the top are wonderful. I ended up picking up the mini metals mostly because the size is small enough that I can carry it around, and I also do like all of the shades that are in here. All of these mattes are good, and I think that they'll still be useful for me. What I did want to compare this to, I am going to keep this Metal Mattes. My least favorite thing about it is because it's so huge, I don't get to take it anywhere, and that's why I picked up this one. But I wanted to compare this to my Shade and Light Eye. So I actually picked this up not too long ago as like a good travel palette, but I'm wondering if I will get a similar effect with this, but the colors might be better. That Dose shade looks a lot like this orange, which for me is a terrible crease color, so I don't like using it anyway. And this pink is really powdery. This brown is not that different from Oak, and this creamy shade, I think it will give me the same thing as Bone. So you know what, I'm going to keep the Metal Mini, and I'm going to pass on my Rust Quad. So, goodbye Rust Quad. You were cool while you lasted, just that orange was not the right shade for me. I felt like I just didn't have a good transition shade in that palette. I wanted to swatch my Afterdark palette against my Heavy Metals palette, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these colors are going to be the same, and I don't know if I need both. So let's take a look. So that is Druggy from the Afterdark palette, and that's Metalhead. Yeah, that's pretty close, frankly. So then let's take a look at Backfire. Backfire doesn't even swatch very well. Let me try it next to Punk Rock, see how close that is. Well, Punk Rock swatches way better. We're going to take a look at Lounge. Lounge is a green with like a interesting undertone. I'm going to put that against Mullet. There's more of like a purple undertone to this. That's the big difference. Then we have Fringe. Let's take Fringe against Amp. Amp also swatches better, to be honest. And then we have Paralyzed. Ooh, that's really pretty though. And that's against Dive. So Dive and Paralyzed are not an exact match. Paralyzed is definitely a darker blue. That doesn't mean I need to keep it, but anyway, let's keep going. So then we have Off Duty, which is a brown. I'm gonna say Base. Is this the closest to Off Duty? No, not quite. Let's try Demo. Okay, Demo's pretty close to Off Duty. I think Sinful actually might be the closest to Base. Let me put that there. Well, they're similar, but they're not exactly the same. Let me see what Glory looks like. that's pretty close to Glory, to be honest. I can see where this is going. This is Supersonic. I think I'm going to try Supersonic against After Party. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. We're going to take Scene. Scene is a really beautiful color. I don't know that any of these are exactly the same. Let's try Angel Fire. Angel Fire is a lighter version. Try Scream next to it. No, not quite. There isn't anything exactly the same as Scene. And then the last one is Alter. This is like a really powdery, yellowy one. A really beautiful gold. A very white gold. Try that next to Maiden. No, Maiden's not quite it either. So swatching the entire palette out, I don't need both of these. They're pretty similar. The differences are pretty subtle. The only color I think I would really miss is this Alter shade, and I'm wondering if I have that somewhere else. You know what? Frankly, if I do miss that Alter shade, I bet I can make that with a highlighter, to be honest. So I'm gonna let this Afterdark palette go. I don't think I need it. I hate the packaging on this thing. If anybody knows how to depot it safely, please let me know. I would love to depot it. That's all of the eyeshadows from the Afterdark versus Heavy Metals. There's not an exact duplicate to about 3 or 4 of the colors, but they're all pretty close and you can make pretty much the same look somehow. So I just don't think it's worth keeping both. I've gotten rid of 2. I'm already regretting my choices. So with the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette, I can make some of the other colors that I don't have and that I will be losing in the Afterdark. So I think I do want to keep this anyway. It's one of my very favorite palettes of the year. I just think it's a really fun one. It's good metallic eyes, and it's also really nice for travel. Like this guy, terrible for travel. I'm not going to take that places. So I know I'm definitely keeping the Pastel Goth. This was a limited edition. This is one of my favorite palettes of the year. I do wish she would bring this back and make it permanent. The colors are just really nice. They're like a nice muted, beautiful rainbow that can be made on your eyes. I think they're really great. So this is one of my favorite palettes. I'm going to keep that. This Too Faced chocolate bar, this is a mini size that I got as a 500 point perk. I'm trying to pan this. I'm not allowed to buy a full size of the chocolate bar palette until I pan it. So I'm working on it. This is one of my favorite travel palettes to take around with me, but I am going to keep that for sure. So this I think is the Troublemaker palette. This guy is so old. I forgot about this one. I haven't used this forever. It's got beautiful shimmers in it. I remember that I really liked Last Call. It's like a really neat purple. And this is like a little brush. I don't think this brush has ever been used. I do think Shattered is also very nice. But frankly, that's not looking so different from these guys either. Let's try Mildew. Well, the quality on these shadows seems really good, but I know that at least 3 of them, I know for Maui Wowie, Oil Slick, and Chopper, the glitter fallout in these is terrible and I never want to use them. But I'm pretty sure I have a similar color to that Shattered in one of the other palettes, so I don't need it. I know I have Mildew in the eyeliners, so I don't need to keep that either. While these shades are neat, I'm pretty sure I have pretty similar ones somewhere else. I don't think I have to keep it. Yeah, there's definitely duplicates for this. So I never even took the plastic off the mirror. I never remember to do that. I'm gonna let this guy go. So that one's gonna go. So in terms of the Fenty palette, this had good reviews if you like a glitter palette. I do love glitter. My only issue with it was that in order to make the glitter stay on, you needed to use some sort of good primer with it, and I didn't own glitter glue, but I decided to pick up the NYX glitter primer, as well as I have a sample of the Too Faced glitter glue so I can see which one works better and move accordingly from there. When this did go on sale, I had just purchased it. I'd finally caved, so then I returned the one I hadn't opened yet and bought another one at the sale price. So this one I did just get on sale, so I do want to keep it. So I will put that in here. I also just got this guy, which is the Kat Von D Saint Sinner palette. This is the Holiday 2017. I have barely used this so far. Like, I've swatched a couple colors and that's pretty much it. I really just need to take time to use it. It looks gorgeous. I've seen reviews. It looks wonderful. I just, frankly, just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's nothing wrong with the palettes. That's entirely on me, but I do want to keep it. Okay, so this is slowly but surely reducing what's on the table. So this is a MAC quad that I must have made a million years ago, and I don't even remember what the names of these colors are. Well, that green has terrible payoff. Oh. All 4 of those swatched terribly. Yeah, this isn't worth keeping. All right, let's get rid of that. What is next? So there are a couple more palettes that I bought relatively recently, as in during the holidays, and that would be these three little guys. This is the Huda Beauty Smokey Obsessions. I know I want to keep this, although I actually want to swatch it. See if it's this pink is also similar. Yeah, that's pretty similar too. Doesn't have quite as much of a pink undertone, but it's pretty good. I also got the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions. This is a wonderful palette. It's so pigmented, but it's beautiful. Oh look, and that's going to give me that teal that I love. So, you know what, that's all I need. And I also got the Tarte Pro to Go. I do like this palette. I've had a little bit of trouble blending it. I've noticed in some of my videos when I've been wearing it, it looks a little much. It doesn't look like I blended it at all, but in the magical bathroom lighting, it looks really nice. So I need to practice with this guy a little bit more. It's not quite working for me. But these three little guys, I definitely want to keep them. So I'm going to slide them into the box. And now we're down to this. So this Golden State of Mind palette from ColourPop, I don't love this palette. It's kind of a waste. It's pretty chunky. The colors are pretty, but I have plenty of other foily eyeshadows and sparkle stuff. I should not have... The reason I bought it was I really wanted to see what the ColourPop formula was like. I found out later that this is not their normal eyeshadow formula, and I probably should just not have picked it up in the first place. I don't love this particular foily finish. I just don't think it's a very good palette, and I think I have plenty of other stuff that would be better. So, you know, I think I'm going to pass that along. I feel bad. I've only used it a couple of times, but I can tell by the stuff on my arm I have way better things than that. So even though I just bought it, you know, it was a fail. It's okay. Things are allowed to be fails. All right, now we have this guy. This is the Urban Decay. This is the Fun palette. Oh, look, there's more of those colors I really love. Is Maui Wowie the same as the color that's in the Troublemaker palette? I feel like the Maui Wowie in this one looks like a better color. It definitely looks like it's in better shape. Are any of the other colors the same? No, although Sellout and Sin look pretty much the same. Stray Dog and Smog look pretty much the same. Deep End is just a darker version of Shattered. Although that fishnet color looks pretty nice. Let's see that. Yeah, I don't... Oh, that's a better version of this Grifter shade. So I feel secure in my feelings that this one definitely needed to go, but I kind of like these. I kind of like these right now. I'm going to hold on to this for right now, just for now. Then I have this. This is the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics. This is my Good Neutrals Traveling Palette. This also just went on sale, but I've had this like a year, so that's okay. This palette's really basic, but it's really nice. It's a good neutral. This brush, I've actually never used it because I never use any of these brushes in here. Overall, I would say this is a good palette if you don't know where to start and you really just want to use mattes to get going, especially if you have plenty of shimmers in your regular collection and you don't need a shimmer. I think this is a very nice palette to start with because I actually don't have any of the other Naked palettes. I've never had any of them. But I wasn't super thrilled with the color selection, so this is the guy I was the most drawn to when this came out. So I do want to keep this. I do take this traveling a lot. Alright, we're down to this. This is where it's going to get difficult. Alright, so this Shade and Light Eye, so this is the Glimmer version. I actually do really like this palette. I think that the colors are pretty amazing. I don't have the regular Shade and Light Eye. I didn't know whether I should buy it. And I thought I had enough neutral stuff, so I never picked it up. And then when this came out, I thought, oh, well, this is ideal. I'll just buy this one instead. So I ordered this guy, and so far I do really like it. I don't use it as much as I should, mostly because I don't notice it, because it got stuck in the back of my palette display. So I need to keep this forward. But I do like it. Getting to use the finishes, getting used to them, it takes a little bit of time, but overall, it's a very nice palette. The colors are really good, and the shadows look really wonderful on. You can make a really interesting look very quickly, so I do really like this palette. I like that formula. I'm running out of space in there. I need to rearrange this whole thing. All right, down to 4. All right, we have the Serpentina palette. So this Serpentina palette I actually just picked up in the last 6 months or so. I found it at the bottom of the Kat Von D display in a Sephora in Soho. That they clearly had found them in the back somewhere and just stuck them down there. But you couldn't see them unless you kneeled on the floor, because I was kneeling to look at something else. So I grabbed one up. They were able to, you know, ring it up and sell it to me, and I ran away. I think they had 3 other ones. They're long gone at this point, but they had several of these for like no reason, just there. I want to love this palette. I really do. but it's very difficult to love it. Unfortunately, these colors down here, so Medusa and Ankh, are so glittery and the fallout is just everywhere. This Blood Milk shade is a nice red, but I look terrible in red eyeshadow. And these 4 colors are my favorites, but I don't know that I necessarily need them because I'm pretty sure I have the similar colors in the Metal Matte palette. Yeah, so like the blue and the green are pretty close. So Nile and Nebula are pretty much the same. And Sacred and Water pretty close as well. That Venom shade is not very good, and neither is the shade Ribbon. I mean, it's fine, but it's just not that great. And that Hieroglyph shade, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much duplicated. And this guy, yeah, the Hieroglyph shade is not that, it's sort of if I took Dose and Flash and mixed them together, I would get that color. So, yeah, I think the decision is made. The Serpentina's got to go. It just doesn't work for me. I really love a dark eyeshadow, but on my face, I have a really hard time getting a good look out of this palette, and I think it's just time. It's just time. There was a reason I didn't buy it in the first place. It was when I saw it and knew that it was impossible to get now that my collector hands got itchy, and I should have listened to my first instinct, which was not to pick up that palette. Just wasn't for me. Doesn't mean it's not pretty, but it wasn't for me. All right, we're down to 3. So we have this. This is the Kat Von D Chrysalis eyeshadow palette. For about, like, I think last year before they did an update to the Kat Von D website, the Kat Von D Beauty website, they had some of their older palettes still available for purchase, and this was one of them. And so when they were having a sale, I picked it up. I do actually think that the shades in this palette are very pretty. My biggest problem with it is that I don't get a lot of different looks out of it. Some of the shades are duplicates that I have in other palettes, and these shades, like this little gray section here on my face, they all look the same. There's no real difference. I have this blue somewhere else. This pink has too much glitter in it to use. I don't like this black. So the shades I like the best are like this shimmer, and I'm pretty sure I get similar versions of those shimmers in different palettes, in different Kat Von D palettes even. So as much as I want to keep this as sort of a Kat Von D collector, similar with Serpentina, I just don't use this palette enough. It just sits there, and I don't have room for all the palettes that I have that I use on a regular basis, so I really shouldn't be keeping palettes that I really can't use. So I have to let this one go. And then last we have these 2. So I have the Urban Decay Electric, which is a bunch of really interesting neon colors. I think this is the palette that you're not supposed to use around your eye. Well, at least 4 of them. Slow Burn, Savage, Jilted, and Urban are not for use around the eye. So the 2 awesome purples, and then these 2 guys, you're not supposed to use them on your eyes. An eyeshadow palette, you're not supposed to use on your eyes. I don't have a lot of colors like these. These are such bright, intense colors. Although that actually swatched super patchy. Let me try one of the other guys. Yeah, like that's just a really beautiful color. I don't know what's going to happen if I put these around my eyes. I know that I have. I don't think anything happened. Yeah, like look at the payoff on those. Like that's just 4 of them, and they look amazing. I want to keep this. I want to keep this electric palette. I like it. So this is one of the Basquiat palettes. There were 2 of them. There was the sort of like the neutral one and the brightly colored one. This is obviously, if you couldn't guess, the brightly colored one. I've never really used this palette much. I think I've done like 2 or 3 looks with it. I don't know that I need to keep it. It's got a nice color palette, and frankly, it is a lot of interesting colors all in one, so maybe I should try to use it? I don't know. Plus there's a brush I've never even used. I don't even know if this is any good of a brush. I feel bad. I have so many eyeshadow brushes from Urban Decay, and I've never used like any of them, so I have no idea if they're any good. I don't know. I feel like I need to commit. Well, let's see how much I've gotten rid of at this point. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7! That's 7 palettes. That's at least the 25%. So you know what? Maybe I will just call it there. Oh, I'm having regrets. I'm having regrets. This is hard, guys. I don't want to let you go. I'm rescinding a declutter. I'm taking the Afterdark back out with the caveat, if I cannot figure out how to depot safely the Heavy Metals palette, then I'm going to keep the Afterdark. If I can depot it, then the Afterdark goes. But I'm going to keep it until I try to figure out how to do that, because I hate the packaging on the Heavy Metals palette, but I'm a little afraid to take it apart because I don't want to break it. It was kind of expensive. Let's see how that goes. I'm still getting rid of 6 palettes, and I think that's a good start. So I am pleased that I at least managed to get that many to go, and then I'm going to rearrange this whole thing so that they all fit better in this letter organizer. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. If you like the content that you're getting, please subscribe, and I wish you the best of luck in your declutters, and have a great day. Bye!